Hello, everyone. This is Rochelle Gordon with Bliss Tea and Treats, and you are listening to Corporate to Cup. So I'm going to do a series of recordings to inform you guys on what's going on with Bliss Tea and Treats over the next year. So it's 2024, and there are a couple things that are changing. So over the series of the next couple weeks, I will be doing some recordings, and then I'm going to drop them all at the same time. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So last year, I decided to, I have a rental property in Los Angeles. I decided that I wanted to sell it. So I went through a whole process of painting and fixing and doing a lot of things to it to get it ready for sale. And then what I realized is that the market was just not ready for it because the interest rates climbed to like 8%. So it wasn't a good time to sell and be able to make the money that I needed to make. Now, my motivation for selling it was I wanted to be able to buy a commercial space. Why did I want to buy a commercial space? Because I realized that when you own a business, you really have no control over the future of your business because your landlord has pretty much all of the control because they get to dictate what your rent is, how much it goes up, when they don't renew your lease, and so forth. So that was the initial plan. Since I realized I was not going to be able to sell it and get what I needed, I decided to kind of wait it out. So it became December. I wrote to my landlord. I knew my lease would be renewed. So wrote to my landlord, said, hey, I want to continue to keep Bliss at its current location. Let's, figure out what needs to happen. I do this every year. We do an addendum to the lease and, it goes up X%. We move on. So this particular response was different than all the other responses that I've gotten. He said, well, you don't have a clause to renew your lease. You will have to sign a new lease, and the new lease needs to be at market rate. He gave me 3 options. There was a 1-year option, and I would be paying about $1,000 more than I'm paying now. And then there was a 3-year and a 5-year. A lot of you guys that live in Oceanside knows that there's going to be a lot of construction happening. The Regal Theater is going away. All of the businesses surrounding the Regal Theater is going away. And then on the other side of me, there's the transit center project. I've been engaged with both projects because I'm protecting my interests. I'm very interested in what's happening, when it's going to happen. Are they coordinating with each other? Are they going to do one and then do the other? Or is all of downtown going to be under construction for the next 3 to 5 years, right? So I explained that to him. I explained that the reason I was not interested in doing a 3 to 5 year lease is because I was not sure how the construction projects would affect my business and if I would be able to sustain it under those circumstances, because everything around me would basically be under construction. Does that affect parking? Does that affect my customers' ability to get to me? How do locals feel about that? Are they even interested in coming downtown because of the major construction that's happening? Additionally, I was concerned that as the leases come up for the businesses around the Regal Theater, what is going to happen when none of those businesses are open, right? You have a whole complex of businesses that then are gone. It starts to feel very much like a ghost town. So I am aware of all of those things, and I'm walking into it with open eyes and very clear. And I shared that with my landlord in an email. And I told him, this is the reason why I want to do a 1-year lease. And I got no response. So a couple weeks went by, still no response. So then I call his mother. Now his mother is one of his partners, so she comes into Bliss often. Had a conversation with her. She said, look, if you can't do a 3-year lease, he's probably not going to talk to you. I said, but I thought he offered 1 year as an option. She said, yeah, but he really wants more of a commitment. So I'm paraphrasing there, but that's pretty much what she said. She said, he's not really interested in talking about it. So I had a conversation with her. She said, look, I'll try to call and see if he would talk to you, but I doubt it. She emails me back and she said, yeah, he's not willing to talk to you. So I find myself in a situation where I have a landlord that is not willing to talk to me, and I am not getting that 1-year lease that I requested, that he offered. And the landscape of downtown is not inspiring me to look for another location downtown. So I wanted you guys to hear from me the reason behind the lease situation, the reason behind the change that is going to come. Another thing that I wanted to share is that when you sign a lease, it's not like signing a residential lease. You don't go in and within a week you have a lease signed. When I signed my lease, it took at least 4 to 5 months. I think we started the conversations at the beginning of the year, and I didn't sign my lease until like May of 2019. So it's a long process. Lawyers are involved. You're negotiating rates. They're looking at financials, making sure you can afford it. I had to provide all kinds of financial information. So it's not a quick deal. And then there's the build out process. So when you get a commercial space, there's usually a period of time where you have to do the build out. Some will call it tenant improvements. I personally did not get any tenant improvements because my landlord did not provide that. So that is something that I did myself. So all of the build out that I had to do at Bliss, it was something that I did. And it took time. It took a lot of time. So I'm not going to blindly go into another commercial space thinking that I can just pick up what I have and move it to a new space. That's not realistic. So I know there's, probably people that will be like, just find another space. It's not that easy. It's not that straightforward. That's something that you really need kind of a runway in order to make happen. And of course, I know my landlord knows this, right? For him to not communicate with me, for him to not respond and say, hey, I'm just not going to take your offer, for him to just go silent, it's clear that he's just letting the time run out on me. And I think that that's the reason why I'm creating this recording, is because I really want to document the process of how this works, because I see a lot of people posting on social media, oh yeah, well, if you can't survive, then get out the way and make room for, someone else. Well, sometimes it's not about survival. Sometimes it's about someone else having the control. It's almost like being a puppet, right? And your landlord is pulling the strings. So sometimes it's not about your business and how sustainable your business is or how much you believe in your business. Sometimes it's as simple as somebody else is really calling the shots and everybody has their breaking point. So in this scenario, there are too many variables in play that affect the economy of downtown. Everyone knows that I have been an advocate for Oceanside, always involved, always promoting Oceanside, always creating events that impact the betterment of Oceanside. So I'm not sitting back quietly, not knowing what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. And I have done everything in my power to move the agenda forward for the entire city, as a matter of fact. And here we are. Things are changing. And I think that at some point it will be good. But unfortunately, because landlords see the direction of the city, they want to maximize that at sometimes the detriment of their tenant. And I think that's happening not just with me, but with others. I think there are other businesses that, unfortunately, because we don't own the building, we have to deal with the direction of what growth looks like. And sometimes what growth looks like is greed. And that's unfortunate. So there is more to come. Stay tuned for another recording that will share some more information about what's happening next. Because I will tell you this, I don't sit back and wait for things to happen to me. I'm always taking steps forward. And those steps forward may look different, but they are steps forward. And I think the rule of growth is sometimes the steps that you take, sometimes they don't feel like they're forward. Sometimes they feel like they're going sideways or even backwards, but there's movement. And that's what I'm doing. I'm moving and I'm doing things. I'm having conversations, and I think that God is still in this. So I'm feeling faithful and I'm feeling confident. A huge part of me is feeling really, really sad because you don't build a place where people can find happiness and then want to see that go away. Because a lot of times that happiness is even your own happiness. So it is very sad for me to see the space be taken away. But I'm going to put myself in a situation where I have a whole lot more control. So stay tuned. More to come. Thanks for listening. Take care.